this is JC. I'm doing a second video on the scariest rugby teams to have ever graced the rugby field. Well, in my opinion. And look, as I said, I'm not adding a Springbok team to this list. As I am a South African, I'm going to go back down into history. And actually, this is for people that weren't born or can't remember the pre-2007. There was a team that's not South African or All Black that actually won the World Cup. Okay, I'm talking about the year 2003 World Cup champions England. Yes, a Northern Hemisphere team did actually win the World Cup. This team was so good that, believe it or not, there was a team that name isn't France or Ireland that actually beat the All Blacks, South Africa and Australia in their good days. Strong All Blacks, South Africa and Australia teams in 1 year. Okay, now let's hit it off. Okay, in the year, I'm going to actually go back to the year 1999. 99 World Cup, Yanni de Beer slaughtered many drop goals to knock the English out of the 99 World Cup quarterfinal. Okay. And even prior to that, England suffered horrible defeats to Australia, the All Blacks, and so on and so forth. After the 99 World Cup, there wasn't much faith in England. I mean, I remember me being a 7-year-old kid, watching a game between the English and the Wallabies, who were at that time, yes, Australia did win. Australia actually won 2 World Cups, the 99 World Cup included. And it was the first time I watched England not in a game where they didn't play the box, and they actually beat the Wallabies, okay? If I'm not mistaken, that was in the year 2001. I can't really remember, but yeah, okay? So I was about 7 or 8 years old. Okay. In the year, at the turn of the millennium, the first ever Six Nations, yes, when Italy just joined the home nations and France, the 5 nations, and made it the 6 nations. England won the very first ever Six Nations, just missing out on the Grand Slam with a loss against Scotland. Okay, they lost the Calcutta Cup match. And then they successfully defended the title the following year, but lost to Ireland at Lansdowne Road. France won the 2002 Six Nations, but England defeated the other home nations to win the Triple Crown. They also managed to beat Argentina in Buenos Aires with the second string side, 26-18. And in the autumn internationals, they beat the All Blacks, 31-28, Australia, 32-31, and South Africa, 53-3. Now, okay, you had 2 strong All Black and Aussie sides, and you had an awful Springbok team. Okay, England were the first team in history since rugby even started, if I'm not mistaken. I need to go back deeper into history to have beaten the Springboks, All Blacks and Oz in 1 year. Now, here's how strong this team was. They did it 2 years in a row. You're going to hear now. At 2003, England won the Six Nations Championship, winning a Grand Slam for the first time since 1995. Okay. They followed this up by beating Australia at home. In Australia, they beat the All Blacks at home, both those in consecutive weeks in the June tour. And then in the 2003 World Cup, England went in as one of pre-tournament favourites. Okay. Now, everyone, despite their strengths and how well England did. The All Blacks were still also favoured in this World Cup. The only team out of the top four at that time that weren't favoured were South Africa, because South Africa showed poor form. Okay? Pre-Alistair Coetzee, now I'm talking about before Alistair Coetzee era, this was the worst Springbok team in history. But this was the best English team in history. This, to me, this team is... Damn. Listen to this. In 2003 World Cup, England went through the pools. They beat Samoa, Uruguay, Georgia, and South Africa. And each game, yes, Samoa gave them a hard time, but I mean, that was English school team. Okay? Every one of those games, England won by more than 7. England beat Georgia by, if I'm not mistaken, over 100 points. I'll need to have a look there, but yeah. Okay. They went up against hosts Australia in the final. Australia hosted the World Cup. The game went into extra time, scored 14-all. After one penalty apiece at extra time, scores were then 17-all. With a few seconds left, John Wilkonson pulled a Joel Stransky and kicked the final drop goal to win the game 2017, to become the last team that is not a Springbok or an All Black team to win the World Cup, become the first and only Northern Hemisphere team to win the World Cup to date. This was the first World Cup England have won since the 1966 FIFA World Cup. England were greeted by 750,000 supporters on a victory parade through London before meeting Queen Elizabeth II at Buckingham Palace. This team, now please note, this was the second English team to play in a World Cup. Here's a quick trend for you. England played in the 1991 World Cup final. A World Cup that hosted, Australia won that World Cup. A World Cup that England hosted, Australia won that World Cup. Australia hosted 2003 World Cup, England played them in the final again. England won this World Cup. England would go on to play in the 2007 World Cup as well. Look, okay, after 2003, England weren't the team that they were going into this World Cup, okay? But it is what it is. He still played in the 2007 World Cup final. Okay. England would then go on in 2011. England would fall out against France in the semi. In the quarters. They fell out against France in the quarterfinal. In 2019, England played in the the final again in 2019 and lost to South Africa. But that is for another video. This English team over here was scary. There's another English team that I'm going to talk about. I think everyone can guess which English team it is. That's also, I think people can argue that the specific English team that I'm going to talk about is even stronger than this team, but this team achieved more history. Please let me know what you think in the comment section, and like my video and subscribe to my channel. Cheers, everyone.